Hi, hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a topic by name myasthenia gravis. Before going to the topic myasthenia gravis, I want to give a brief introduction about the physiological process that has been going on at the neuromuscular junction. So, at the neuromuscular junction, normally the axons will be present, and at the nerve terminal at, at the neuromuscular junction, acetylcholine will be released from the vesicles in the nerve terminal, and this acetylcholine will be received by the receptors present on the muscle, and the receptors are called as acetylcholine receptors. So because of this, the nerve impulse will be sent from neuron to muscle, and thereby strengthening of muscle occurs, thereby impulse spreads. So if there is something damage at this neuromuscular junction, then there will be lack of neurotransmitter substance release or availability of this neurotransmitter substance, which will result in a condition called as myasthenia gravis, in which there is a severe muscular weakness. So this is a picture showing the normal neuromuscular junction and what's happening in the myasthenia gravis. Okay, so as I said earlier, at the neuromuscular junction, acetylcholine will be accepted by the acetylcholine receptors, and in myasthenia gravis, because of membrane damage or due to formation of immune complexes that are antibodies against this acetylcholine, there will be blockage of this acetylcholine. Availability of the acetylcholine will be lost because of the antibodies. What are the predisposing factors that are leading to myasthenia gravis? Myasthenia gravis may be inherited as a rare genetic disease acquired by babies born to mothers with myasthenia gravis. Actually, nerves communicate with the muscles by releasing chemicals called as neurotransmitters. Our body immune system produces antibodies that will block or destroy many of the muscle receptor sites for this neurotransmitter, which is specifically acetylcholine. With fewer receptor sites availability, muscles receive fewer nerve signals and thereby resulting in weakness. Going to pathophysiology, as I said earlier, due to membrane damage or due to formation of immune complexes or antibodies against the acetylcholine binding, these lymphocytes will produce acetylcholine receptor antibodies that will attack the postsynaptic muscle membrane, and thereby causing the depletion of acetylcholine receptor of the neuromuscular junction. And this will cause defect in the transmission of the impulse from nerve to the muscle cell, and this leads to a pathological condition named as myasthenia gravis. Maya muscle, asthenia weakness. Okay, so antibodies to acetylcholine receptor protein will be 85% in 85% of the patients with generalized myasthenia and 60% of those with ocular myasthenia. The scientist has observed that there are acetylcholine receptor antibodies. And one more cause for the myasthenia gravis is anti-MuSK antibodies, which are seen in 40% of the seronegative cases. There will be an immune response to the muscle specific kinase, shortly called as MuSK, and this can also result in myasthenia gravis, possibly by interfering with the acetylcholine release clustering. How these antibodies are going to act? As I said earlier, these will block the binding of the acetylcholine to the acetylcholine receptors and increases the degradation rate of acetylcholine receptors. And these antibodies, by cross-linking with the receptors and clustering, there will be endocytosis and thereby degradation. A complement mediated destruction of the postsynaptic folds occurs. The latter two mechanisms would be expected to reduce the number of acetylcholine receptor availability at the synapse. So this is a picture showing what's happening in the neuromuscular junction. Acetylcholine is released, and in normal persons the acetylcholine will be received by the acetylcholine receptors, and there will be binding, and there will be spread of nerve impulse. In myasthenia gravis, as the antibodies are produced against these receptors, there will be blockage of the acetylcholine and receptors block binding, and thereby releasing of neurotransmitter acetylcholine availability, and thereby leading to muscle weakness, myasthenia gravis. How you are going to diagnose myasthenia gravis? The patient will come with a history of double vision, diplopia, ptosis, and there is a weakness in characteristic distribution. There will be fluctuations and fatigue, worse with repeated activity, and the fatigueness will be relieved by rest, and there will in few people a small effect will be there with the previous treatment. On physical examination in the ophthalmology, ptosis and diplopia are observed. Motor power survey using quantitative test of muscle strength, forward arm abduction time 5 minutes, and vital capacity and absence of other neurological signs will diagnose myasthenia gravis. In the lab, we are going to test using two methods. One is hydrophonium test and the other will be blood analysis. In the hydrophonium test, we will inject chemical hydrophonium, also called as tensilon, and it may result in a sudden, although temporary, improvement in the muscle strength, which is an indication that the patient has myasthenia gravis. How hydrophonium acts? Hydrophonium acts to block an enzyme that breaks down acetylcholine. The acetylcholine is a chemical that transmits signals from nerve endings to muscle receptor sites. So this is hydrophonium test. And the other test for myasthenia gravis is blood analysis. A blood test may reveal the presence of abnormal antibodies that disrupt the receptor site where nerve impulses signal muscles to move. Thank you for patient listening. Signing off, Dr. Ravichandra, Assistant Professor, Department of Pathology.